Hello ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, in his out, his in-betweeners. My name's Dan. Welcome back to another PAP Reports, The Bad Bits. And again, it's only called that until I decide on a name. And don't forget, you can still help me by throwing your suggestions in the comments for what to name this separate series from the normal PAP Reports. It's Monday the 3rd of August 2020. It's been revealed that 56-year-old sick cunt supply teacher Phillip Blackwell, who appeared on the Xfactor in 2008 and who is now currently serving 17 life sentences, not long enough if you ask me, after admitting 31 sex attacks on 9 women over 22 years starting in 1997, It's been revealed that 56-year-old sick cunt supply teacher Phillip Blackwell, who appeared on the Xfactor in 2008 and who is currently serving 17 life sentences, not long enough if you ask me, after admitting 31 sex attacks on 9 women over 22 years starting in 1997, was able to attack 2 more women because Devon and Cornwall police delayed their investigation. Police were said to have found videos of this dirty, horrible bastard actually abusing the women. One victim said she reported him to Devon and Cornwall police in 2017 and again in February 2019, 6 months before he was arrested. At least two attacks on victims are understood to have taken place after the first report was made in 2017. Complaints have now been filed against the force, including from the 2 women who were raped after the police knew about him. No doubt some senior plod will find someone to use as cannon fodder over this one. 26-year-old teaching assistant Kevin Sheppard from Kettering is to be sentenced at Northampton Crown Court on the 25th of August for being another dirty, horrible little paedophile cunt. Sheppard, who worked at Huxlow Science College in Northamptonshire, was detained at his home in Kettering, where police recovered his iPhone and laptop after he had offered 8 Amazon vouchers worth £365 to an online seller in exchange for child porn between June and September 2018. Sheppard's phone had an app which contained 46 Category A images of child abuse, 19 Category B, 35 Category C. His laptop contained 17 Category B videos of child sex abuse and 10 Category C images. The sick fuck admitted 3 counts of making indecent images of children between September 2014 and July 2019 and 1 count of encouraging the distribution of indecent images of children in July 2018. Dirty cunt should be getting the guillotine. The reports don't say if he has been remanded, but I do hope not, and I hope Karma sees him walking down the road one day while she's out going for a drive. Now, this one's probably going to boil your piss a bit. Although it's not in the UK, it's unbelievable the gall that this cunt has. Australian Troy Stephen Johnson, who was dubbed the Ghillie suit rapist and who was described by a judge as truly evil, received 28 years in 2019 after he abducted a 12-year-old girl, tied her up and raped her on May 15, 2017, and also attempted to groom another child. Dubbed the Ghillie suit rapist because he was wearing a ghillie suit when he grabbed his victim off a bush track before attacking her. In an appeal against his, what I would personally call excessively lenient sentence for this kind of oxygen thief, his lawyer argued the lengthy jail term was manifestly excessive compared to other similar cases and was unreasonable or plainly unjust. In other words, it was disproportionate to the offending. You're right. He needs fucking burying, not locked up. His lawyer submitted Johnson's previous grooming offences, with another team were serious and admitted that 7 convictions over the abduction were at a different level. However, she argued he had committed a single 1-hour-long attack on the Central Coast girl rather than a prolonged period of offending. Yeah, well, you tell the girl that it wasn't a prolonged period of offending, you fucking monster. The offences are, of course, at a different level, she said, but they all occurred within the period of 1 hour as opposed to separate days over time. Big fucking do. Further, they were relatively short in duration. Further, the applicant had no criminal history and had been employed supporting his family prior to his offending behaviour. She also told the court the sentence will see Johnson despair and give up hope, particularly due to his isolation from his family. Boo fucking who? So sad. So terribly, terribly sad for this cunt. Maybe it will just be better for him to tie his prison sheets around the window bars and hang himself, the dirty cunt. I mean, this sick fuck even boasted to a friend that he had sexually abused a girl, saying, "Dude, you'll never guess what I just did," right after the attack, and claimed to have a contingency plan in case he got caught, telling his mate that he's going to kill himself by taking an overdose, but didn't succeed in the attempt. What a fucking shame. Can you imagine a fucking cheek this cunt has asking for a reduction in his sentence? If I was a high court judge, I'd give him a longer fucking sentence if it come in front of me. Anyone who does that deserves to go, to at least die in prison, even through old age, through topping themselves, or preferably at the hands of some lifers who have nothing else to lose. Now we're going to stay in Oz now because this is particularly disturbing too, and seeing as Australia is part of the Commonwealth. 61-year-old dirty fat cretinous paedophile cunt teacher John O'Neill, who pleaded guilty to 6 counts of indecent assault, that's 6 boys, not 6 times with 1 boy, and 1 count of penetrative sexual abuse of a young person, has been spared jail. As in, he won't be spending a single day in prison. O'Neill suffers from several conditions such as spine degeneration, difficulty breathing due to him being a fat cunt, and chronic pain, and is a full-time carer. He can't shower, leave his home, and recently had a fall and fractured his ribs. Shame he didn't break his fucking neck. The court was told it was also likely that O'Neill suffered from psychotic depression with auditory hallucinations. Well, he either does or he doesn't. I mean, poor fucking pedo. Let's all feel sorry for the horrible fat bastard, shall we? O'Neill currently lives in Canberra, is in a wheelchair and has been deemed medically unfit to travel to Tasmania, where he would have to be extradited to. They say the cost of getting him to Tasmania could cost as much as 40,000 Australian dollars due to COVID-19 restrictions. Now, the reason he has to go to Tasmania is because that's where the crimes occurred, and he can't spend time in jail in Canberra for a crime committed in Tasmania. Chief Justice Blow also said there was no point in placing O'Neill under home detention as he cannot leave his home anyway. Greg Barnes, O'Neill's defence barrister, told the court normally it would be no question that his client would serve a prison sentence. A term of imprisonment must be imposed, but in the circumstances the sentence would have to be suspended, Mr Barnes said. One of the abuser's victims read a statement in court of how what happened to him as a child made him not a whole person. As a survivor of abuse, I have to acknowledge that I've lost a lot, the victim said. I quickly stopped believing in God and I stopped trusting authority. The first complaint against O'Neill was made in 2013, but due to medical conditions, his prosecution has been delayed for years. Imagine that. Imagine being a victim of such a horrendous crime from such a horrible, fat, dirty cunt and getting absolutely fuck all justice. What a thing to have to live with as a victim of such crime. Ex-Manchester City football scout, 66-year-old Barry Bennell, who's currently serving 30 years in prison at HMP Littlehay for 50 child sex offences in 2018, has now admitted to another 9 offences against 2 youngsters aged between 11 and 14 of the time of the offence between 1979 and 1988. Bennell appeared via video link at Chester Crown Court from the prison, and the case has been adjourned until sentencing in October. Now, I know I probably don't need to mention this one, as it is a high-profile case and you all probably already know about it, but I thought I would add it anyway, just for your opinions in the comments. Prince Andrew. Court documents that were unsealed before the weekend accused Prince Andrew of taking part in an orgy with underage girls and of being the powerful individual Jeffrey Epstein's sex slave Virginia Giuffre was forced to sleep with. It's also claimed that he pressured the US government to do what the judges here in the UK seem to do, give paedos a light sentence. Andrew is still yet to speak to any authorities about his potential involvement, either to admit or deny under oath any involvement, which itself speaks volumes. Among other revelations, the documents indicate that former US President Bill Clinton consorted with young girls during at least one visit to Epstein's private resort in the Virgin Islands, where the billionaire was said to host regular sex orgies. Donald Trump also made an appearance in the unsealed papers. However, an associate of Epstein, Juan Alessi, said in an interview that Trump never stayed overnight when visiting Epstein's Palm Beach estate and that he did not receive any massages there, as he's got his own spa. An alleged victim also maintains that while Trump and Epstein were good friends, Trump made no attempts to flirt with her. Professor Alan Dershowitz is directly accused in the documents of having sexual relations with an underage girl. He's also said to have witnessed the sexual abuse of many other minors by Epstein and several of Epstein's co-conspirators. Maxwell's legal team repeatedly claimed the files from her 7-hour, 418-page deposition, as well as correspondence between her and Epstein, should remain sealed. But Judge Preska ruled that any concerns of minor embarrassment or annoyance to Maxwell were far outweighed by the need for public access. And maybe our own government should take a leaf out of this judge's book with the grooming gang reports here. Now, to be fair, doesn't seem to be any mention of those who investigated Epstein and offered him a deal in 2008, as it seems to me that the deal he struck, which included a condition that his close friends were not investigated, seems like the kind of things you say when your close friends have something to hide. And so as law enforcement, they certainly shouldn't have given him that courtesy. The fact he spent just over a year in prison for crimes that should have seen him in for 20 plus years needs to be looked at, and the people who agreed the deal too. Obviously, there is a lot more to this one, and it is very publicly reported on, so I'll not waste any more time here with the not so grand old Duke of York. Now, imagine how distraught you would be at the fact that a doctor or nurse had just told you that your 6-year-old child is going to have their ventilator switched off so they can be left to die. Now, imagine that because you are distraught, the hospital, that caring, lovely NHS, who we were asked to applaud for not so long ago, called the police, who then went on to forcibly drag you from your dying child's side whilst calling you an animal. Well, that's exactly what happened to 59-year-old Rasheed Abbasi after medics insisted that their 6-year-old daughter Zainab should be allowed to die. Mr. Abbasi, a respiratory expert who works at another hospital, and his wife, Mrs. Abbasi, fought for further treatment that they were convinced would keep her alive. But after a meeting with hospital staff, the staff called the police, claiming Mr. Abbasi had pushed a senior doctor who attempted to prevent him returning to his daughter's bedside. And I'd likely have done far more than pushed someone trying to stop me going to my dying child's side. Half an hour later, 4 old Bill and 2 security guards turned up at Zainab's bedside, where Mr. and Mrs. Abbasi and one of their sons were quietly comforting her. And it's important to note that they were quietly comforting her. Now, this incident happened last year on the 19th of August 2019, but details have only just come out, including body-worn footage, which I'll show you in a minute. Mr. Abbasi, as a respiratory expert, said they have clashed with doctors for years over their daughter's treatment, saying that on 2 previous occasions when Zainab was critically ill, they had successfully argued for her to be treated with steroids instead of having her support withdrawn, and were proved correct when her condition improved each time. When police arrived, however, instead of being the compassionate and caring police of old, they asked on a number of occasions for Mr. Abbasi to leave his daughter's bedside to talk to him outside the ward, but he refused. Mrs. Abbasi suggested the police talk to her husband at the bedside, pleading with them to show some compassion, saying, "We've only just been informed they're going to take the tube out of our daughter." However, instead of trying to mediate, and instead repeatedly asking Mr. Rasheed to come outside and asking if there's anything they can reasonably do to make him go outside, one constable eventually plucked up the bollocks to go hands-on and told Mr. Rasheed to let go of his daughter's hand before grabbing him by the arm and back of his neck and wrestling him to the ground. Big man. I bet you felt proud, didn't you? I bet you went home and told your wife, and I bet she didn't get a beating that night either. After being forced onto the floor, Mr. Abbasi, who suffers from serious heart problems himself, complained of chest pain, only to be told you've brought this on yourself, before having his legs strapped together and being handcuffed. Police, of course, backed up their use of violence by saying that Mr. Rasheed kicked them and bit them. However, conveniently, I can't see anything in the body-worn camera to actually show that he did. Mr. Abbasi said the pictures speak for themselves. They behaved like bastards. No, he said they behaved like barbarians. They were not prepared to listen. My daughter was given a death sentence half an hour before they arrived. Mr. Abbasi was taken to accident emergency, where officers later de-arrested him. He said he was told he had suffered a heart attack, and the next day he underwent an emergency angioplasty. Following the incident, the NHS Trust applied to the High Court for permission to take Zainab off the ventilator, But on September the 16th, just 3 days before the hearing was due to start, she died. Now, the reason this hasn't been reported until now is because it seems the NHS had a reporting restriction placed on the case. I wonder why, if they'd done nothing wrong. But on Friday the 31st of July 2020, the family won a legal battle to partially lift reporting restrictions. A spokeswoman from Christian Legal Centre, Andrea Williams, which is helping the couple, said the family showed extraordinary restraint in the face of brutal treatment. They genuinely feared that their only daughter was about to die. The reporting restrictions that were lifted did leave some still in place, and the police force and hospital are still not allowed to be named. The police force involved said its officers responded to a call of a man being violent and abusive towards staff and that he had assaulted a consultant. They added, while we recognise it was a very distressing time for him and his family, our duty was to ensure the safety of all those present. They confirmed Mr Abbasi was arrested on suspicion of breach of the peace and assaulting police officers, and that one officer was treated in A&E. They also added, due to the nature of the incident, it was necessary to detain the man, and when he complained of feeling unwell, he was taken for treatment as soon as possible. The police force also said they had reviewed the footage and that it sets out a very different picture to the limited version of events which had been presented to them. And isn't that always the case? Instead of the police using their fucking brains when attending an incident and viewing everyone as innocent until proven guilty, the police seem to always take the word of the complainant without any evidence to back it up and acting on that information alone instead of gathering information from the scene, even obvious evidence such as the fact that Mr Rasheed was sitting quietly at his daughter's bedside and not in fact breaching the peace. But of course, that's far too hard for any dim-witted wooden top to comprehend and would go against the training as utter cunts. The police force even said they had reviewed the footage and that it sets out a very different picture to the limited version of events which had been presented to us, which to me sounds like an admission of wrongdoing based on the information they had received, rather than making a determination for themselves upon arrival. But then we're only members of the public, and as we all know, these cretinous bully boy bastards simply love to act as personal protection for corporations when their first priority should be to the public.
Rashid, may I have a quick word with you, sir? Not here, I prefer not here. If you could just come outside. No, I really need you to speak to you outside.
I don't want to leave my daughter. My
Well,
daughter is dying. I've just
unfortunately, we need to speak to you outside.
We have just been told about half an hour ago that they are going to take the tube out and our daughter is going to die. So, to be honest, do you know what?
I'm not leaving.
Well, at this time we do need to have a chat basically about what's been happening.
You can have
So
a chat now. Right now.
They
right
come
The
in.
staff have asked us that if we just speak to you outside presently.
No, please. I don't want to leave this.
We're welcome to drag up a chair and just sit here and talk with us.
Well, your behaviour is some concern to the staff.
I'm sorry.
And their behaviour.
I beg your pardon?
This is a lie.
Is
You
it?
know what they did? They have had a
Right.
meeting. They've
So
had
was
a
Friday
meeting.
a lie as well? Was it about your behaviour? Was Friday a lie as well about your
No.
behaviour, which why police were called as well?
Police were called because
Why
they
did
brought
police
us a
not take any
letter.
action then?
Right.
May I,
We ask you to step outside, please.
Would you listen to me a minute?
Not really, because the concern isn't about you, it's about...
No, but the concern was raised with me. They brought a letter
Right,
at quarter
Dr.
past
Rashid.
four.
Right. Dr. Rashid, we're going to ask you to leave now, please.
Come and have a word with us because you need to leave here.
No, I'm
Is there anything I
No,
can reasonably say or do to get you to listen to
No.
what I'm saying and comply with what I'm asking you to do?
You're
They're
three of you.
taking-
Please drag me
they're
out of here.
taking-
Is there anything I can reasonably say or do that'll make you come with me outside of this ward?
They're taking the tube out of our daughter. She's going to die.
The staff will inform you if if she deteriorates.
She's on a
Listen,
ventilator.
just listen to what I'm saying. Just listen to what I'm saying. The staff will inform you if there's a significant deterioration. At the moment, she's in a stable condition. Okay?
You're dying on a ventilator. I don't think you quite understand it.
We're asking us to return to his accommodation, which is only just around the corner, and they will be contacted accordingly.
They drag me out. They will.
No.
Let them. This is your
He's,
job.
he's
Dr. Rashid,
he
No,
cares for
I need you to
everyone.
stand up and I need you to come outside of this
I'm not.
ward.
I'm
Alright?
not. I'm not.
But please listen to me, okay? Please listen to me.
If you don't comply with what I'm saying,
No.
then there might be a necessity to place you under arrest.
No.
All right.
Doctor, that's what you guys
With that
want.
in mind, is there anything else I can reasonably say or do to get you to do what I'm asking you to do and stand up and leave this ward?
Will take me to a prison.
No, because you guys have been
I
so...
don't. Then the law will separate
Listen,
me from
there's accommodation up by A&E that's a lot closer than police station where you won't be able
May
to
I say
leave.
something to you,
So
right?
perhaps you should
Listen.
consider making a decision.
May I say something? I came to see my daughter earlier. He gave Nino and we were just informed in that room that they were going to take the tube out of our daughter and put her on a palliative
So we
care.
assure us that you'll be informed should your daughter deteriorate significantly to a point where you would
take me to prison.
the accommodation is minutes away. It's on the same site. I do. Not that it's relevant
Would
here.
you please?
Can we just discuss what's best for your daughter right at this
No,
time?
best for her
And what's
daughter.
best for your daughter
Best-
right at this time is not to have this kind of confrontation around her. She's
But
in the
do you know
best
what?
care, in the
No,
best
she's
place,
not.
and this
She's
this
not. That's the
situation
whole
is
point.
yes she is. Yes she is.
I beg to
This
differ.
is I can vouch for that personally.
Well,
Okay.
I can also vouch for...
I do know them.
for my-
Actually, you're incorrect. I do know them. The top and bottom of this is this environment that you're putting your daughter in isn't appropriate.
I feel
Here to
bad for
discuss
you. You are put in a
all-
bad position. Because
all
of
we
this.
are here
They
to
shouldn't
do
have called you in
is
at all.
prevent any kind of issues around your daughter.
That's not,
It is a reasonable
That's
request.
not what they have done.
But that's what we've informed.
They've
That's what
just-
we're here to
I
do.
know. What have you actually been told? Were you told that half an hour ago you have informed us that they were going to take the tube
Yes,
out?
but they're not doing it right now. They're not doing it right now. They're not going to do anything without informing
Do
you.
you know what compassion is?
Yes, I do. Hence the reason I'm here, trying to plead with you from one mother to another that this is not right.
That's the next
Look,
step.
please, do you know how much I have to deal with?
Please. Can you jump up, please?
Listen, please. No, please.
I'll ask you one more time. Is there anything I can reasonably say or do to get you to leave this place? Leave go your daughter. Leave go. Get back. No, go. Leave go.
Mrs. Abbasi. Mrs. Abbasi.
Leave go. Leave go of your daughter. Leave go of your daughter. What are you doing to my wife and yourself?
What are you doing to my...
On the floor.
Stop fighting!
Right.
Calm down! Calm down! I've got chest pain. Right. I've got chest pain. Pull this on yourself.
We'll take you to A&E. That's absolutely fine. Right, please come with us and act responsibly. You're an adult. You're an educated person. Can we get a trolley and we'll get you out?
Stand up, please.
Right, we'll get him a trolley. We'll just wheel him out.
Up you get.
He's not going to walk. He's not going to walk. Get a trolley. Okay, we'll wheel him out.
Got head, chest pain. I've got chest pain.
Right, we'll take it here and even.
I've got medicine in my pocket. I want to have some.
Right.
I've got medicine in my pocket.
If you sit up reasonably on the chair, we'll get you medication.
I can't. I'm feeling dizzy. I'm feeling dizzy. Why are you pulling me?
Sit on the chair, it's just there.
I can't.
You can.
Let me on the floor. can't even. What are you doing?
Right, come down.
I am down.
Put your head to the side. Put your head to the side. On. Put that one.
I've got chest pain. Let me have my medicine. I've got chest pain. Let me have my medicine.
We will. Calm down first.
Let me have my medicine. I've got chest pain. I will have a heart attack.
You will. Calm down.
You
Calm.
rascals. You animals. You
Right. Put him on the bed. One.
animals.
To do the hand of the legs.
Get up. Body. 1, 2, 3. Up.
You animals.
Don't kick me.
I didn't kick you.
Yes, you did.
I didn't.
You're acting like an animal. It's disgusting.
You are an animal.
Get him out.
You are an animal.
Get him out.
Don't you bite me.
Ah, bite you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't. You kicked me.
Child is disgusting.
How on earth can I
Behaviour in
kick
front of
you?
your child is disgusting.
Let me have my
No.
tablet.
We'll take you to see a doctor.
Let me have my tablet. I'm having a heart attack. You
Stop it. Calm down.
racist.
If you calm down,
Let me have my medicine. What is this? What is this? You are not letting me have my emergency medicine. You are not letting me have my emergency medicine. You are animals.
Yeah.
You are animals. You
seen anything.
animals. You are hurting my wrist. You are hurting my wrist. You are not letting me have my medicine.
We're taking you to A&E.
You are, I need to have emergency medicine.
We're taking you.
Yeah.
I'm going to make this work anyway. Calm down.
Shut up.
Right.
Calm down. Stop fighting.
Spit food in there.
You're going to act like an animal.
Get off it. You get off me.
We're not like an animal because we try like one.
Okay? If I suffocate and die, you will be. You will be.
A sentence handed out by Judge Giuffre Miller QC sitting at Downpatrick Crown Court last month to 29-year-old Jeff Anderson from Shore Road in Kirkcudbright for sexual assault on an unconscious woman and 12 other charges has been blasted as unduly lenient and is being considered for referral to the Court of Appeal. Anderson, who appeared on Andrew Lloyd Webber's Superstar in 2019 and The Voice in 2014, admitted offences including sexual assault and recording women for his own sexual gratification, was handed a 3-year sentence which was suspended for 3 years for the offences dating back 15 years. His 3-year sentence, suspended for 3 years, was handed down even after the court was told by the probation board that they believe there is a medium likelihood of Anderson reoffending, given that his criminal planning and premeditation, risk-taking behaviour and lack of responsibility or self-control. His list of offences were sexually assaulting a woman between January 1st, 2012 and March 11th, 2012, assaulting another woman occasioning her actual bodily harm between October 21 and 31, 2015, and 11 counts of voyeurism spanning from 2005 to 2013. 2 of his voyeurism victims were under the age of 18 at the time. On Saturday, the Public Prosecution Service confirmed the decision. Spokesperson said that while sentencing is a matter for the judiciary, the Director of Public Prosecutions does have the power to refer particular sentences to the Court of Appeal on the grounds that it may be unduly lenient. In this case, the Director considered that there are sufficient grounds to refer the sentence to the Court of Appeal. And what shocks me about these incidents, the lenient sentences I mean, is that judges are never, or at least never seem to be, in trouble over them. I think that judges should have at the very least a 3-strike system where if more than 3 of their cases get taken to appeal and are overturned, they should no longer be allowed the privilege of deciding people's futures or fates. And this goes for those who get unduly long sentences for their crimes too. If a judge knew he wouldn't have the protection if he fucked up, maybe that'll make him think twice about abusing their positions. Serious allegations of rape have been levied against an unnamed Conservative MP by a former parliamentary employee. The accused is alleged to have assaulted a woman and forced her to have sex, and the abuse allegedly took place during a relationship, which took place between July 2019 and January 2020 at 4 different addresses in London. Although the MP was arrested on Saturday morning after receiving the allegations on Friday, he was released on bail soon afterwards. The Conservative Party called the allegations serious. No shit. But it said the MP would not have the party whip withdrawn while the police investigation continued, meaning that he can continue to sit in the House of Commons as a Conservative, and nobody knows who the fuck he is. A spokesman for the Met said the Met has launched an investigation into the allegations. A man was arrested on Saturday on suspicion of rape and was taken to custody at East London Police Station. He has been released on bail to a date in mid-August. The papers said the allegations were raised with Tory Chief Whip Mark Spencer, and the complainant also spoke to him, but no action was taken. The complainant alleges that the MP had assaulted her, forced her to have sex and left her so traumatised that she had to go to hospital. I'm sure that information about this, who this was, will be forthcoming, and I will of course report on that as and when the information becomes available, but it's getting a bit sick and tired of the amount of MPs who are becoming rapists or paedophiles. That the whole system needs a fucking clear out. Very big thank you to all of the supporters of the channel, especially channel Patreon supporters. Your support really, really helps. And that's all I have for you in today's report. Please like, share, comment and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts, as I know many of you will. And until next time, stay safe. Please look after each other. Film the police and other officials. Good night, all. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you like the content and you'd like to help support the channel, you can do so. In the description of every video there are some links to ways that you're able to help support the channel so I can continue putting out content. If you're unable to help us in that way, hit that subscribe button up the top there. If you haven't already, become a subscriber. That is support enough. Share the videos, comment, like, it all helps. If you're looking for something else to watch, up top there is my latest video. Down the bottom there is a video that YouTube recommends for you.